Hello, friends. I am so excited to welcome you to quarterly sales planning. So, this is a fun process where we look back at the previous quarter, we make a plan, do a little bit of brain dumping, idea sharing, all the stuff for what you want to happen for the next year of real estate. And then we're going to make a specific plan for the quarter. So, very first thing that we're going to do is review your last quarter. So, it's very helpful. I always forget this is backwards, the last quarter. So it's very helpful to know what your quarterly goal was for the last quarter. But if you don't, we're still going to talk about how you felt about the last quarter. So, very first thing that we want to do is talk about what was your quarterly goal. And so, if you told a fourth grader, just for example, I like to use a fourth grader as an example because 10 is just such a great age. Okay, so if you told a fourth grader, this was my goal last quarter, what was it? Write it down. Write down what your goal was. And then did you hit it? So would that fourth grader say, yes, you hit it, or no, you didn't quite hit it? And if they couldn't have an idea of if you hit it or not, it was a little bit vague, we're going to work on writing something that's a little bit more specific for this coming quarter so that you know where you're aiming. That random person can answer yes or no, knows where you're aiming. So it's crystal clear the direction that you're heading in. So answer those two questions. If you don't have the sheet, go down somewhere down there will be a link to this that you can print off, follow along, or just download it and do your electronic notes, whatever you choose. But anyways, we're going to go through that. So yes or no, did you hit it? Now we're going to say, thinking about the whole quarter, whether you knew what your goal was or not, maybe you're starting this for the first time, thinking about the last quarter, what worked really well for you in the last quarter? This could be personal, this could be professional, but what worked really well for you? So I'm going to talk through some of these examples, but if you have in your mind already what it is, just write it down right there. So did your morning schedule work really well for you? Did your prospecting plan work really well for you? Did you being part of an accountability group and checking in every day about what you were working towards or idea sharing with each other on what you were working towards work really well for you? Did you set 10 coffee appointments a month and that worked really well for you? What do you love about what you did for the past 3 months that you want to carry forward? Because really that's what it's about. It's about learning and evaluating and growing and adjusting through these quarters to get where we want to go for the life that we want to live. So think about what worked really well for you this past quarter and then what did not. Because sometimes we try things that just do not work out, and that's okay. One of the things that did not work out for me this past quarter was a flat fee listing plan for sale by owners that was very limited service. So I did a little bit of marketing to for sale by owners to test this out to see if we were going to roll it out to the whole brokerage. Is I'm going to engage with for sale by owners for a period of time. I'm going to say, hey, we're a full service listing brokerage that's offering a flat fee limited service to get your property on the MLS so that you can have your listing alongside those real estate agents listing, because on Zillow they kind of segregate them out for sale by owner versus MLS. So I talked to their pain point. I gave them upfront pricing on it. I gave them a very easy message, and if this doesn't work for you, good luck, congratulations, blah blah blah. Right? It was well worded, way better than I'm doing right now talking to you about it. Didn't work. It didn't work, and it was a whole lot of effort. And so that's okay to say that didn't work. It was a lot of my effort. It was a lot of my time, but I tried it. I did it. And now I'm moving forward with something else. So is there something in your business or in your life that you're doing that just is not serving you and you're not going to take it into this next quarter? Again, it's backwards. So I need to point that way if I'm saying next quarter, even though physically I want to go like this. Okay. And then wrapping it all up, everything considered, if you were to grade your real estate business for the last quarter, what letter grade would you give it? That's on you. I personally tend to be a little bit critical of myself. So evaluate your efforts, not necessarily what if you achieved your last quarter goal or not. What I find and what was brought up, and I think it's really important to acknowledge, is that sometimes when we make quarterly goals that are based on other humans, those other humans can prevent us from achieving the quarterly goal. So evaluate your efforts in this process. How did you do? Rate your efforts in this process. Okay, now we're moving on. And when you're doing this, you're going to have it the correct way that it needs to be. But what we're going to do here is take a handful of minutes and just write down everything. Write down all the stuff that you've got in your brain that you want to do for life, for your business, just as fast as it can come out. Put it on the paper. Do you want to learn Spanish for your business? Do you want to translate all your forms to Spanish? Do you want to buy a city lot and develop a cottage cluster on there? Do you want to there's so many things. Develop a homeowner binder. Do you want to develop a pot buy plan? Do you want to go to the gym regularly? Do you want to get into hot yoga? I don't know what your life is, but you know what your life is. So write it, just put all of it down. And if you're thinking, Tiffany, stop talking so that I can actually write this down, just put me on pause because I'm going to keep offering up suggestions. But write down what you have that's floating around in your brain as the shoulda, wouldas, and couldas. And darn it, why didn't I start this 2 years ago? Or I know this is the thing that I need that's going to take my business to the next level. Maybe you want to do property management. Maybe you want to do HOA management. Maybe you want to get your builder's license. What are the things that you need? Because as a 1099 person, you are not just developing a real estate prospecting plan. You are building your life around this thing. Do you want your kids to move to online school so that you can travel regularly? Do you want to do a mission trip internationally this year? And how can you cover for that for your business? Do you want to start planning your life that every February you'll go live somewhere else for a month because that's the slowest season for you in business? I don't know. You know though. You know what it is. So put all of your ideas on this page. Okay, now that we've moved on from that, we're going to write out 3 to 5 goals from that last list that make the most sense for you to accomplish or tackle or like work towards for this next quarter. So if you're thinking, I want to do senior home development, I want to do these single family homes and duplex style senior development. Great. So, what can you do in the 3 to 5 goals towards that to work towards those? And so, take a couple minutes and break down all of the big ideas that you had on the last page. I got to be backwards. Break down all the big ideas that you had on the last page and put them here as 3 to 5 ideas of what you're going to tackle this quarter in the next 3 months to get towards that life or that real estate business or that sales prospecting plan, whatever you're working towards. Put them down here and get bold. You can do this. Do it. Okay. So now what we're going to do is make them smart and measurable and all of the different ways that you could do it. So you're going to write this page out by the end of the quarter. So you're going to put the future date that's for the quarter, the end of next quarter. And then the measurable is what you measure. So you might say the measurable thing that I want to achieve is 2 closings, 4 closings, 10 new appointments, 10 new clients, 30 coffees, whatever the measurable thing is that you want to accomplish for this quarter is what you're going to put there. Then you're going to put what you want your revenue to be. Now, you could do this on sales volume or you could do this on income. For you, that's up to you. And then your profit measure right there. And so those are going to be the numbers of things that you're keeping track of. And then we're going to write those goals from the 3 to 5 that you just had SMART. So this is specific. I know it says it at the bottom. Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, time-based. This is where you decide. Look at that. I even put it in there about the 4th grader. This is where you decide, how do I write these so that a 4th grader can decide at the end of my quarter if yes, I did them or no, I did not do them. Because if you can speak in simple terms and explain what you're doing in simple terms to other people, your subconscious will continue to try to achieve those. If you've messed it all up and you've made it very difficult to understand vaguely what you're trying to achieve, the first thing that I know about myself is if I don't clearly define something with a measurable, attainable, realistic, time-based thing, is I'm giving myself an out to not accomplishing it. The second thing that I know about myself is if I put it with somebody else to accomplish, I'm setting my expectations up to be let down, not because that other person isn't great at what they do, but because that's me setting a priority that I've decided for myself on someone else. And they might not have those same priorities. They have the ability to function completely separate of me. They have the ability to make their priorities completely separate of me. And it could be that I am not their priority. And so when you're setting these goals, write them to you so that you can control what your efforts are, so that you can control your outcomes. And you might need to bring in pieces, but do as much as you can with yourself in this process, for the goals, specifically for your actions. So we're going to write them out. So if I wanted to do my senior home development, I'm just going to get back to senior homes for a second, because that's a quantifiable, finished thing that will be accomplished. The first thing that I might need to do this quarter is get site control of where I want to do my development at. And so what I'm going to do is write buy a city lot, purchase a city lot by June 30. The next thing that I'm going to do is meet with an architect about planning. Now, I want those plans to be done, but I want to meet with an architect. That's my action item. And I'm going to be working all quarter towards meeting with the architect, for that. Maybe you want to prospect to for sale by owners. So you're going to say prospect to 150 for sale by owners this quarter. That's very specific. That's a measurable thing that you can say yes or no to. So write out your 3 to 5 goals right here in the SMART efforts. And then the thing that I found, and this was through trial and error, was that when I wrote these goals, if I didn't also define how I was going to achieve them, it kind of got lost to me because I didn't have check marks or guideposts along the way of the quarter of checking in. And so, in addition to these, by the end of the quarter, I will do purchase lot. I will purchase a city lot. I will meet with an architect. I will prospect to 150 for sale by owners. I then went a little bit further. And again, this was through a whole bunch of trial and error, and wrote out the steps that I would need to do to accomplish that big goal at the top. So if you put purchase a city lot, the first thing that I need to do is decide which city I want to purchase it in, right? I need to review the zoning regulations and decide which city I want to purchase in. Step 2 is going to be looking at the GIS map and seeing who has vacant lots near that city center and getting their contact information, putting them in a grid, getting their contact information. Step 3 is going to be approaching these people off market, because the best deals for land happen off market, in my opinion. Step 4 is going to be see who's willing to purchase. And then step 5, writing a purchase agreement for it. So I have some sort of ownership into what that is. So that's one goal. And then you do that for, I know that you can't see that I'm changing it unless you're watching the page number, but you go through and you do that for each one of your goals. And then these things, put somewhere that you can see. Put them like this one right here. You can put that in a picture frame with a plexiglass on it, and you can put it right next to where you're brushing your teeth every single day so that you see your goals every day. Don't let this be hidden, because then it will be hidden from your daily actions. And then who knows if we're going to remember a month and a half into this what in the world we said we were going to do. Life just has a way of going by so quickly, and especially if you have ADHD, shifting your focus so quickly that I can have every good intention of finishing these things, but in fact, I got distracted so quick that now I'm looking at something totally different for my quarterly goals. So do this, build your progress tracker, having some sort of weekly check-in with your office of what you're working towards. If it's a person, another agent that you're working with, if it's your broker, if it's a weekly accountability meeting that you set up, there's so many different ways to do this. But this is how you do quarterly planning. Let me know if you have any questions. That's it. Okay, go forth. Be great. Break.